future of royal residence is uncertain as Charles plans major shakeup across Britain. At one of the royal palaces, Charles is said to be keen to allow the public to visit even when he is in residence. When King Charles III ascended the throne in September, there were several reports suggesting the new monarch had progressive plans for his newly inherited palaces. Upon his accession, the king assumed control of a £35 million empire, a large proportion of which is real estate. Charles inherited palaces, castles, houses, cottages and ancient ruins which span the United Kingdom and are worth an estimated £21 million. The king, who has long been an advocate for sustainable development and took the throne in the middle of a cost-of-living crisis, reportedly wants to make the most of his property portfolio, with supposed ideas ranging from increased public access to establishing museums. Here, Express.co.uk takes a look at all the possible plans for the king's palaces. Private spaces to public places. Even before Charles became king, he is said to have had plans for his future properties. In May 2021, the Sunday Times reported that the then Prince of Wales wanted to give people greater access to royal residences upon his accession. According to the publication, Charles wanted Buckingham Palace, Clarence House, Windsor Castle and Balmoral to be transformed from private spaces to public places. It went on to claim Charles wanted to open the palaces more widely for longer periods during the year. He was, according to reports, speaking to his wife Camilla, then Duchess of Cornwall, and Prince William and Kate, then Duchess of Cambridge, about his plans. Charles was said to be considering opening Buckingham Palace, the royal family's headquarters, and its gardens throughout the year when he became king, including when he is in residence. During the late Queen Elizabeth II's reign, the staterooms and gardens at the London-based palace were open to the public from July to October, while the monarch was at Balmoral. A royal source said, "The prince wants to bring people in to connect with the institution. He recognizes it needs to keep evolving, and in the modern era, people want to be able to access their palaces. He embraces that and sees them as public places more than private spaces." Charles, who is known to dislike the big house, still resides at Clarence House, the home he has shared with Queen Camilla since 2003. There has been no official announcement about if and when the king will move to Buckingham Palace, which is currently under refurbishment and won't be completed until 2027. If Charles chooses to stay at Clarence House, Buckingham Palace may be open to the public all year round. Turning palaces into museums. Charles doesn't share the same fondness for the properties his mother did. While Queen Elizabeth spent a lot of her time at Windsor Castle and Balmoral, Charles has less affinity for historic homes. Balmoral, which is not part of the Crown estate, was the summer residence of the late Queen, who died at her beloved castle last year. It sits on a 50,000-acre estate which also includes the King's own, less-known Berkeley Cottage. Shortly after Charles's accession, an insider told the Daily Mail that Balmoral Castle will be opened up to the public, and an exhibition paying tribute to Queen Elizabeth could be opened this summer. The source claimed the king believed royal residences should deliver something for the public beyond just being somewhere for members of the royal family to live. They said, looking at the number of properties and the number of working members of the royal family, the king will be looking at the properties and asking, what value does this give to the public? Elsewhere, the Daily Mirror's royal editor Russell Myers claimed some of the less-used properties could be turned into museums. He told ITV the new king said he would want some of the royal palaces to be turned into museums because you don't need them all. I think it doesn't really sit with the music at the moment, so it will be very interesting to see how he shifts into being a modern monarch in the current climate, he added. Lending a helping hand out last month, it was reported that King Charles had opened up 3 of his royal residences as warm banks. The public was given access to Scotland's Castle of Moy and Dumfries House, and the Orchard Room at Highgrove House, the King's private residence in Gloucestershire. Warm banks are set up in public places for those who struggle with loneliness and the cost of heating their homes during the winter. They can go to the spaces and spend the day there. The Warm Bank at Highgrove, organized by the Prince's Foundation, is open every Tuesday until the middle of March. Highgrove director, Constantine Adami, explained the initiative was launched to help tackle isolation in the local community, and to support people who might be struggling to heat their home or just have not chatted to anyone for a while. He told the BBC last month, "Just an open convivial space that's free of judgment and you can just come along and enjoy," adding that His Majesty is hugely supportive of this program which is really encouraging for them. Avril Bradley, who visits with her friend Gillian Lintern, said she thinks the space is fantastic. She said, "We've enjoyed the experience. We've met some new people. We've done some activities which we normally wouldn't do. I think this is more on a level of treat." Set for the stars. Charles and Camilla reportedly have big plans for Buckingham Palace. Looking forward to the completion of the London residence's renovation, set to be in 2027, the King and Queen consort hope to make it the host of increased receptions and events for the public. According to reports, the royals may even welcome Strictly Come Dancing to the ballroom. In June, Charles and Camilla were said to be in secret discussions with BBC executives to host a live episode of Strictly, and had been granted permission from Queen Elizabeth to do so. While the plans were shelved for 2022, a palace source confirmed they could be revisited this year. Camilla is reportedly a massive fan of the show and even votes every week for her favorite couple. A palace source told The Sun, "That is still on the table and a clear indication of how ambitiously they are thinking. The king sees the palace as somewhere that should be more open to the public and particularly to celebrate national events, not as a mausoleum." They added, "The king and queen consort both like the idea that more members of the British public are involved."